Hey everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina and welcome back to another Stampin' on Friday episode. Today we're going to be using this stamp set by Paper Tray Ink called the Friendship Jar. I just didn't get a chance yet to put it in my CD case, but I went ahead and I already die cut. I have the coordinating die and I went ahead and die cut this already. And I'm going to go ahead and start stamping, and the first stamp I'm going to use is the outline of the jar. And I'm going to use my Fisker stamp press for this. And some Jenny Bolin brown ink. This is the brown sugar. So I'm just going to use my stamp press to line up my image on my die cut. So there's that. The next one I'm going to do is another little layer here. And for this one I'm going to use some walnut stain, distress ink. So this is going to be pretty dark when I first stamp it, but once it dries a little bit, it's going to be a little lighter. So I'm just going to line that up and stamp it right in the middle of my jar. Okay. And then I'm also going to stamp the lid to my jar, and that comes with the stamp set as well. And again, I'm going to use, even though it's a very small stamp, I'm going to use my stamp press to do that because it's easier for me to line up. And again, using the brown sugar ink, I'm just going to go ahead and line that up and stamp it. Okay. So those are my pieces. I'm just going to set those aside to dry because it does take a few minutes for that distress ink to dry. So we'll go ahead and get started putting our card base together. I'm just using a standard A2 size card, and it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I have that already die cut. The only thing I want to do is just use a little bit of the walnut stain right around the edges, and I'm just going to go very lightly around the edges. I don't want it to be too dark or too much. So I inked up the edges of my card base along with all my layers. I inked those as well using the walnut stain. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this layer together. This piece measures 2 inches by 3 3/4, or 4, yeah, 3 3/4, and then this piece is 2 1/4 by 4. And I'm just going to go ahead and layer those together. My pattern paper is the Love Me, My Mind's Eye paper collection. It's a 6x6 paper pad that I'm using. I'm just going to center this right into that little mat that I cut, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and layer my other piece here, and I'm just going to do the same thing, just put a little adhesive on the back and then center that on my mat piece. Just like that. Before I go ahead and adhere this down to my card, I am going to take the Paper Tray Ink twine that comes on the spool like this and wrap this right around the front of the top of my piece here. So I'm going to go around 3 times and grab my scissors, and then I'm just going to tie a bow right on the top. Okay, so I have my bow tied onto the top of my card. I'm just going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back and adhere this down to my card base. And then I'll go ahead and adhere this one down just below that. And I'm going to move this up a little bit because I put it down just a little too low. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my other layer down, and that's just going to go down towards the bottom, just like that. So now I'm ready to go ahead and put my jar on. Before I do that, I am going to take a oval punch. This is a 1.5 by 3/4 inch oval punch, and another sentiment from the friendship jar, and it says "Celebrate Today." So I'm just going to stamp this right onto this piece of cardstock, and then use my punch to punch that out, and I'm going to make this a little tag for my jar. So I'm just going to go ahead and punch my hole wherever I put my paper piercer. Here it is. Just like that. And then I'm going to take this piece of twine, some more of the twine, and just feed this right through my tag. Okay, so I stamped my Celebrate Today using the Victorian Velvet Distress ink and fed my twine through there. So now what I'm going to do is kind of just put it right on the front of my jar here, and then take my twine and just loosely wrap it around my jar. And then I'll just use a piece of tape to tape that onto the back. And then I'll trim this with my scissors. So we have this cute little jar, or little tag now for a jar that says "Celebrate Today." And then I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive down to hold that into place. So that now will go right on the front of my card, and I'll use some dimensional adhesive for that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is put my little lid onto, or my top onto my jar, and that'll go right on there. So I'm going to use my quick dry, my Scotch quick dry adhesive to put that on. And then I have this little piece of kind of elastic ribbon, and that is going to go, I'm just going to measure it up a little bit first. Trim this down a little bit, and then that's going to go right along the edge of the top of my lid, just like that. So that's my card for today. You can find a list of all the supplies I used to make today's card over on my blog. Thanks for watching. See you next time.